Okay, everybody, here we go. Call to order. We are now in order. The invocation is by Ben Sukra. There we go, Ben. Thanks. Please step up to the mic.
All right. If you guys will bow your heads with me. God our Father, thank you for being with us today. God, I just pray that through this council meeting that we will be focused on just in bettering the city of North Platte. That would be focused on the people, the less fortunate. God, that we would just be like-minded, and our goal would be unity tonight, and that we would really just align our hearts with what you're calling us to do to make North Platte just a better city, business-wise, financially, just touristy, whatever it is, God, that we can do to make North Platte just a thriving city, just a beautiful place that families want to come and be a part of. I pray that you will be with our churches, that you'll be with our businesses, our council members, God, and just with the agenda tonight. And I pray this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, Chief Thompson, can you hear me back there okay? Okay, thank you. We have now a roll call, please.
Nisley,
Here.
Tryon. Here. Bowles.
Here.
Lucas.
Here.
Garrick.
Here.
Harmon. Weaker. Woods.
Here.
Thank you. Open Meetings Act. A current copy of the Open Meetings Act of Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers. Meeting procedure. The public may address specific agenda items at the pleasure of the mayor. If recognized by the mayor, please identify yourself by stating your name and address. Also, please come to the microphone. Please address the council through the mayor and limit remarks to 3 minutes or less. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in the public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. We have a consent agenda tonight. All matters under the consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from consent by request. Item number 1 of the consent agenda, approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2021. Item number 2, place on file the treasurer's report for January 2021. Item 3, authorize the mayor to execute the purchase agreement for a 2021 pickup from Janssen Chrysler for the electric department. Number 4, authorize the mayor to execute the agreement between the city of North Platte and the United States Department of Agriculture on controlling the pigeon population in the city of North Platte. Number 5, approve the operation of the Cody Keno Inc. Keno Lottery at Rivers Edge Golf Club LLC at 1008 West 18th Street. That is all for the consent agenda.
I move we approve, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I move we approve items 1 through 5 of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Here we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Calling the question. Okay, that item passes. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to the regular agenda. Approve to authorize the mayor to execute, item number 6. Approve to authorize the mayor to execute health and accident contracts for the city's self-insuring health and accident plan beginning April 1, 2021.
I move to approve to authorize the mayor to execute health and accident contracts for the city's self-insuring health and accident plan beginning April 1st, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion on this item? We just heard a quick but informative session right before this meeting. Okay, calling the question. Please vote. That item passes as well. Number 7, Award bid to Beverage Inc. for Special Water Improvement District Number 3 along Reed Avenue from the intersection of Oak Street to the intersection of Phillip Street, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract. Do we have a motion on this subject?
I move to award bid and authorize mayor to sign contract for special water improvement district number 3.
Second.
Giving that one to Pete, I'm not sure who won exactly, but do we have any discussion on this issue? Okay, calling the question. Please vote. That item passes. Number 8, adopt resolution to approve the 1 and 6 road plan for 2021.
I move to adopt the resolution to approve the 1 and 6 road plan for 2021 to 2026.
Second.
Sorry, Jim.
I'll give that one to Jim. Okay,
Sorry.
we have, we're going to discussion. We have Brent here to present some information to us and Wes to assist him. He has some large styrofoam boards.
I'll adjust these so we can see. I have this on, my name is Brent with, I'm the city engineer, and we're getting a couple things set up here. Les is helping me get the PDF of this. These are the boards, and if anybody would like a paper copy, I have one if you'd like to see this as well afterwards. What we have this evening is the 1 and 6 road plan. The 1 means what we're looking at immediately, and the 6 means just the long-range plan. And we had a public hearing last week, and we had really good participation, attendance, questions on that. Big picture, the procedure is on the, come on. 1 and 6
Been victimized by technology there. There we go, okay.
Thanks, Les. The state of Nebraska requires a public hearing, public participation, and that's part of the conditions of receiving state funds, which is the fuel tax, the portion that comes back. And so we had the public hearing last Thursday, and we didn't receive any comments as far as suggestions to incorporate in the plan. And I just wanted to cover real quick, a high level. You probably got to see some in the paper or seen it handed out in the packets. But I just wanted to kind of summarize for the public at large on what we've been communicating. And over here, this is the 1-year plan, and 1 year is what we're looking at doing in this fiscal year. And just to highlight some of the elements that we're looking at, these are more of, I'd say, construction projects, but the green are things that we completed in this last year, which is overlays on State Farm Road and up by Wild West Arena, and also the downtown project, which a lot of people got to see, and we got to a conclusion with that. And on red is what we're looking at forecasting for this next year. On red, on the one-ways, this is the part that the state's driving, but it's going to be a rebuild of Jeffers and Dewey from First down to Leota. And that's a part that the state's driving and the city's going to be participating in. But that's coming in the next couple of years, but they're working on the design right now. Also, we have shown on the one Sunrise. This is down at Menard's main entrance, going west to Mid-Plains Community College. That is a developer paid for private funds project. William, just north of the hospital, north of Francis, that's another developer paid for project. Right next to it is William and Union. That was completed by city forces this year. There's an intersection city forces completed this last summer. Reed, which the council approved for a paving district last summer. We have that on this year for an asphalt overlay. West Brentwood, It's over west of Lakeview. The developers, that's again a private street, a private developer conducted project. Lakeview, over on the west side of town, we're looking at having that on this year's project, moving forward with bidding. That was contingent on Dial Properties getting going with the apartments, which they've been moving forward with that. And then we have up at the top here, the last and definitely not the least, we have 9th Street. We're gonna have design, moving that into design this fiscal year. And then on the 6th year, so this is what we're looking at in this first year. This is what we're looking at imminent coming up. And then the 6th year is kind of our bigger plan. And when I say 6, this can be things that we're looking at in 3 years, or this is things that we are looking at in 20 or 25 years, kind of a master plan. Give you an example on the master planning. We're looking at State Farm, both sides, make that an urban section instead of more of a rural 2-lane asphalt, because those would probably be a 3-lane concrete. Those aren't being looked at next year in the following years, but maybe in the long-term 20-year range, or if the development comes up. So we have those on the master plan. We have Jeffers and Dewey also on that, because that's a continuation of the long-term planning. It's going to be driven based on the state's budget, so we included it on both. But, so that's just kind of a high-level view of, these are some of the longer-term projects that we're looking at. And we have some bridge repairs, things like that. Those are elements that we're looking at on the 1 and the 6. And one piece that I don't have on either one of these, because it was a more detailed, is we're looking at next year a maintenance plan, which would include some overlays and some seal coats. And that was an additional handout that we had in the packet. And it kind of reds up a lot of this so you almost can't see it. But there's multiple areas that we're looking at, and most of them are higher traveled areas for doing an asphalt mill. We'd mill the asphalt and then overlay it. And when we presented on our public hearing, we had a lot of good questions of where and some of the thought. Can you scooch over? Thank you. I'm walking around, so. But in general, the areas, to give you an example of some of the highlights of the areas that we're looking at, would be Leota, the asphalt over by Walmart on the south side of Walmart, and Francis on the north side of Walmart, and then the asphalt along B Street on 4th Street going from the one-ways east. Those are just some examples of some of the asphalt that we're looking at this year, liking to get that bid while hopefully the asphalt prices, they follow oil prices, and as you see at the pump, gas is going up, and that's one of the concerns that we'd like to get some of the asphalt in, bid and prices locked in before hopefully they don't keep going up. So that's kind of the high level view of what we were looking at, and we'd looked at just kind of give you a little bit of the backstory. We started with, I have on the computer around a $30 million list of projects that we'd like to do, and then we whittled it down to concrete, asphalt, things that are kind of more urgent, and we felt like asphalt was more urgent this year, partly with some of the bond, getting input from city administration on the bond prices and asphalt. So we kind of went that direction, and then we went and evaluated streets, got input from Mr. Kibben and from Mr. Groseth we had several collaborative discussions trying to target what we thought would be the highest priority, highest usage to try to get the asphalt down. And so we kept on whittling from 3 million. We ended up in about the 1.9 million range for asphalt and seal coat. And the hard part is we'd like to do more and probably would put in the need to do more, but we were trying to balance those components. So those were the things we were looking at. And on the 9th Street, again, that was on the design for this calendar year. And I believe Mr. Kibben had some input, just some other details with that if you wanted to jump in with that.
You bet. Mayor Kelleher, members of council, I passed out what's included in the council packet is the actual 1 and 6 report that goes to the state. I passed out an expanded one, and I just wanted to run through a couple items briefly on 9th Street. there's been several discussions since I arrived here in May on getting 9th Street reconstructed. And so, for the purposes of those that may be listening at home, I wanted to explain our thought process behind why it's design only in 2022. So, a couple of things is, we want to do the design in 22. That way we can, throughout 23, and then bid it in the fall of 2022. That's when you're going to get your best pricing for construction bids. Contractors are, in theory, hungry during those winter months. What we have in 2024 is a bond that will retire. The amount that we currently owe on that bond is $1.95 million. Again, that retires in 2024. So we would start construction then, bidding in late 22. We'd start construction in 23. And then we would bond the project in 24, aligning the retirement of the current $1.9 million and bringing this project to bonding, which is about the equivalent of what we currently owe on the bond of $2 million, is what our current estimated costs are, all to be determined in the future. And then a couple other things one other thing that the three of us, Brent, Lane, and I discussed as we were looking at the 1 and 6 plan is how can we reduce the amount of the projects that we're bonding? So on your sheet, you'll see 3 projects. The seal coating at $150,000. We have a bond and assessment fund that has a cash balance in it, and don't slap me if I'm wrong, of a fair amount of money. So we want to pay cash for the $150,000 out of that bond and assessment fund. The second project is the traffic signal project. This is our portion. The $225,000 is our portion of that state project. We received a refund from the state of Nebraska for $42,000, leaving a balance of $185,000. We would pay that in cash out of the bond and assessment fund. And then the last project is the reed overlay on the backside of the sheet. We would pay for that in cash, at $240,000 out of the bond assessment fund. And that will leave a balance of $2.2 million in the bond and assessment fund. One that I didn't include in there is we also have a Series 2014 bond that's outstanding. There, as of 2020, was roughly $191,000 due on that bond. We would pay that. We would retire that bond now as well, and that's how we get to the $2.2 million remaining in that assessment. So there was a lot of thought process about how we maximize the amount of effort we can put in the 1-year plan and reduce our debt load as well.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Could you run through the dates on the design and build of 9th Street again? I'm not sure I had that right in my head.
Okay. Design will occur now and through the fall of 2022. Construction bid will be late 22, early 23. And then construction starts in 23 and the project completion throughout I would say late 23, and prepare it for completion, issue the certificate of completion in early 24, about the same time our bond would retire.
Okay, thank you.
One piece I thought maybe for the public, we've been, as a group, been looking at this for so long that makes some assumptions, but 9th Street, what we're looking at is about 300 feet west of Sherman, where it changes from a curb and gutter street to an asphalt, looks more like a county road with ditches. So from roughly Sherman to Buffalo, it would be an urban section in that entire area. If you go from Buffalo and 9th Street east, you'll see that it's an narrower asphalt road with ditches. So if that helps on some of the understanding, we've been looking at it so much that it's kind of routine for us, and I don't want to assume that everybody understands that piece. So it'd be a fairly big rebuild for changing it from a county road section to a city street section with storm drainage.
You have the floor, Mr. Lucas.
Do you guys have any early read on what stimulus money may be targeted for infrastructure and how that could impact a city like ours? I know it's pretty early in discussions for that, but are you guys seeing information that gives you any kind of a feel for what federal infrastructure funds might look like and what they might be targeted for?
Mayor Kelleher, Councilman Lucas, I haven't heard anything specific, but looking over the past, a lot of times what they've looked at was more shovel-ready type projects, and then also things that were either connecting or finishing. Those were, if you had a section of street that this either closed a loop, those were kind of ranked on a priority basis. So those were the things that we've seen in the past being rated higher. And so a 9th Street, from my viewpoint, it's a federal aid route. The eastern part was a federal aid route. It would be connecting arterial streets together. I think that would be one that would rank up higher on the list, and Lakeview would be closer to the shovel-ready. From the standpoint, we have a design that's getting close to ready, so. But I haven't heard specifics on breakdown, federal, state, local, county, those type of things.
I know I commented this at the meeting the other night, but I'll just say it again, that I think it'd be wise for us to get 9th shovel ready as quickly as we can, because it sounds like the dollar allocation for infrastructure could be significant on this. And I know you guys have to schedule out things to manage workload, but I think it may serve us well to have it as shovel ready as we reasonably can.
Thank you.
Mr. Woods, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. I agree with Mr. Lucas. I would ask that you guys would prioritize the design so that it could be ready, so it is shovel-ready, and if the funds do become available, we could get it moved up to the front. I've been driving up and down that road the last few days, and we're driving down, you get down near Buffalo and you're driving down the middle of the road because both edges are just gone. It's very dangerous. And we have a fair amount of pedestrian traffic, so I just ask you could prioritize it just in case the funds do become available. And I appreciate that we're doing the whole thing at once now instead of breaking it up into 2 parts. That's a plus. Thank you.
Thank you. We will do as much as we can with our other projects and try to work it in and it's definitely on our list, on our priority list to keep working at, so, yes.
I know.
Any other questions on this matter? Mr. Garrett, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a comment. I really appreciate the work you guys have put into this. It seems like you're squeezing every nickel that we have available. So I just, thank you for the hard work. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hearing no other questions, let's call the question. Please vote on number 8. Oh dear, we need to switch the screen back, Angie. I'd like to make a guess, but that could make me look bad. Closer. Still nothing.
Can we take that?
Could. It appears that our technology is working against us tonight. So, in the interest of public disclosure, if you voted yay for number 8, please raise your hand.
That's everything.
Okay, unanimously passes. Les, if you're here somewhere, would you help with the technology, please? Thank you. Okay, in the interest of time, we'll move on to number 9, and hopefully we won't have to vote too quickly. Number 9 is action to adopt ordinance number 4057 to create street improvement district numbers 330 through 334 as presented in council materials. Matt, would you please read the ordinance?
An ordinance creating a street improvement district number 330, 331, 332, 333, and 334 in the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and describing the various streets in said street improvement district and improvements to be constructed therein, providing for the effective date and publication thereof in pamphlet form.
Do we have a motion on number 9?
I would move to waive the three required readings on ordinance number 4057.
Would you like to approve it in the same motion, or just would you like to vote on that issue first?
I'll second Ty's motion.
Okay. So we have a motion on the table to have number 9 theoretically approved under one reading. Did I understand your motion correctly?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Ty made a motion, Pete seconded it. Any discussion?
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I guess I wanted to see if is there a desire of the engineering staff and of the city to waive three readings on this so you can get this out for bid?
Mayor Kelleher, Councilman Lucas, our desire on both of these is if, at the council's wish, of course, we'd request that both of these be passed without the three readings. And the purpose is to expedite getting it bid because of what the oil prices have been doing. And again, both of these are not being assessed. The first one is a seal coat. The second one is a mill the asphalt and then replace the asphalt. So then these again are on the higher traffic areas and there's not an assessment charge to a budding property owner. So that was our thought process and reasoning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just an observation, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Berglund. Thank you very much. You have done an excellent job with the 1 and 6 year street plan, road plan. We have had one public hearing. The public was in attendance, and it seemed unanimous at that there was no objections to anything. There was actually kudos to Mr. Berglund in doing this coding system, and it appears to be saving quite a little bit of money since there is no assessment. I am a proponent of this, waiving the three readings. I don't think we'll have any objection from the constituents on this. So, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Woods.
even I'm going to vote to waive the three.
Maybe a historic moment. Okay, well, let's call the question then. So we are, just to be clear, as I understand the motion correctly, we are voting at this point to waive the three readings on number 9. Is that your intent, Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Okay, that's the question. Please vote. I have a feeling it will pass. And it does. Okay. So, number 9, theoretically, will be approved with just this one reading. Do we have another motion?
Yeah, I move to adopt ordinance number 4057 in order to create street improvement district numbers 330 through 334 as presented in council materials.
Second.
Any discussion on number 9? Calling the question, please vote. That item passes. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. I just wanted to make sure I had it right. Okay, number 10. Action to adopt ordinance number 4058 to create street improvement districts number 335 through 348 as presented in council materials. Matt, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance creating street improvement district number 335, 336, 337, 338, 339, 340, 341, 342, 343, 344, 345, 346, 347, and 348 in the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and describing the various streets in said street improvement district and improvements to be constructed therein.
Thank you. We have a motion on this one.
I move to waive the 3 required readings on ordinance number 4058, and I move to adopt ordinance number 4058 in order to create street improvement district numbers 335 through 348 as presented in council materials.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Garrick and a second by Mr. Vols. And do we have any discussion on this item? Number 10. Okay, just to be clear, assuming this item passes, it will pass in with only one reading, and the ordinance would be passed. No discussion, so calling the question. That item passes. Moving on to number 11. Authorize the advertisement for sale of the property located at 921 West First Street, legally described as Lot 7, Block 1, Brees Hinman addition to North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and authorize the mayor and city administrator to enter into negotiations for the sale of said property. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to authorize the advertisement for sale of the property located at 921 West First Street, North Platte, Nebraska. Legally described as Lot 7, Block 1, Brees Hinman addition to North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and authorize the mayor and city administrator to enter into negotiations for the sale of said property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on number 11. Do we have any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Woods, you have the floor.
Thank you. I have a question. How do we advertise these for sale when something like this comes up?
Our intent is to advertise in the local newspapers.
Okay. That's what I thought. I'm good.
I'm not sure who was first, so
Oh,
Donna, go for it. You have the floor.
I just have a question. There's a well that's not too far from where I live, and it's not on a very big piece of property, so I was just kind of curious. Are we likely to get anyone interested in such a small strip of, I mean, what can be used unless the neighbor buys it to expand their yard, or, I mean, I'm just curious.
Now, would you like to take that one, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor Kelleher, Councilwoman Trya, we actually had 2 individuals reach out to us about procuring this property. And in fairness to both of them, we felt like the best approach would be to auction the property.
Oh, great. I'm glad there's some interest. Thank you.
Mr. Lucas?
Do we own the touching adjacent property, or is that owned by an outside owner?
Lane, would you enlighten us on this one, please?
Mayor Keller, Councilman Lucas, that is another property owner that, we just have this small property.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay, calling the question on number 11, please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 12. Final reading to adopt ordinance number 4053, amending the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, zoning section 156.353, relating to design, materials, and installation standards for landscaping. Matt, would you please read the ordinance?
An ordinance of the City of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, amending Chapter 156 zoning section 156.353 relating to design materials and installation standards for landscaping, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof in pamphlet form.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4053, an amendment to the City of North Platte Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156 zoning section 156.353, relating to design, materials, and installation standards for landscaping.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on number 12? Okay, calling the question. Please vote. That item passes. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to number 13, adopt resolution and submit the application to the Nebraska Department of Transportation for public transit assistance for fiscal year 2021 through 2023.
I move to adopt the resolution to submit the application for public transit assistance for years 2021 to 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this issue? Hearing none, calling the question. Please vote. Number 13 passes. Moving on to number 14. Adopt resolution to dissolve the Golf Course Advisory Committee for the Iron Eagle Golf Course in North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska.
I move to approve the resolution to dissolve the Golf Course Advisory Committee for the Iron Eagle Golf Course in North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? Just so everyone is aware, we will be sending the members of that committee a nice letter thanking them for their years of service. Okay, hearing no discussion, let's call the question. Please vote. That item passes. Number 15, adopt resolution providing for the designation of First State Bank as a warrant lender, authorizing the execution and delivery of a warrant purchase agreement with such designated warrant lender and referring to and incorporating the terms and conditions of ordinance number 3874 relating to warrant financing.
I move to approve the resolution providing for the designation of First State Bank as warrant lender, authorizing the execution and delivery of a warrant purchase agreement with such designated warrant lender and referring to and incorporating the terms and conditions of ordinance number 3874 related to warrant financing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this item? Seeing none, calling the question. Please vote. That item passes. Moving on to number 16. Adopt resolution approving claims and authorizing the issuance of a warrant to TC Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $20,000 and 14 warrants to First State Bank totaling $1,442,365.81 to pay approved claims and referring to and incorporating the terms and conditions of ordinance number 3874 relating to warrant financing passed and approved on May 21st, 2013.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of 15 warrants as presented in the materials.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this item? You guys didn't think I'd get through that number without screwing up, did you? Hearing no discussion, calling the question. That item passes. We are down to number 17, approved claims.
I move to pay the claims.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, calling the question, please vote. That item passes. We have reached the end of the agenda and we'll move on into the public agenda request section. We respect our city employees and request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or the mayor. Individuals in violation will be declared out of order. This is the time, if anyone would like to come and have the council consider discussion about something, please approach the mic and feel free to bring up the topic. It would appear that no one today is interested in doing that. So,
Mr.
someone
Mayor,
would care to make a motion.
in the absence of Mr. Reeker, I move that we adjourn.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second by Garrick. Please vote. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day, not too much.
Give an extra week off.